Money did not begin as power. It began as a tool. Over time, that tool changed, not because money changed, but because the systems around it did. Every law, every crisis, every expansion left its mark. To understand where we are today, we need to understand how we got here.
You know, when we think about money, we usually picture coins or dollar bills or maybe just numbers on a screen. But what if I told you that the very nature of money, what it is and what it does, was totally transformed by one single powerful idea? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. So let's just start with this one simple question. What if money could grow all by itself? I mean, with no work, no new inventions, nothing. It just grows. Sounds kind of magical, right? But it's actually the world we've been living in for centuries. And the answer is, it absolutely can. The concept that unlocked this incredible power, the idea that just completely changed the game, is called interest. It's the engine that lets money make more money. Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this huge shift, we've got to get to the very heart of what interest is. And it's not just some fee for borrowing money. Nope. It's something much, much deeper. It's the price of time. You know, before all this, lending was, well, it was a lot more personal. Think of a farmer borrowing some seeds from a neighbor and promising to return a little extra from the harvest. But interest took that simple neighborly agreement and turned it into a cold, hard, mathematical system. It put a predictable price tag on the act of lending. And this right here, this is maybe the most important sentence in this entire explainer. Interest is the price of time. If you can really get that one idea, you're on your way to understanding our entire modern financial world. And this just lays it out perfectly. For the person lending the money, time passing is a good thing. It's a source of income. You're literally earning money just by waiting. But for the borrower, on the flip side, that exact same passage of time is a cost. The clock is always ticking, and with every single tick, the amount you owe gets a little bit bigger. So here's the really big takeaway. The second that interest becomes a system, making money gets disconnected from actually making things or doing work. All of a sudden, money could create more money just because time was passing. And look, this wasn't about what was right or wrong. It was just pure mathematics. So what happens when you mess with the basic math of money? Well, you don't just change money. You end up changing the entire structure of society itself. And this is the playbook, right? It all starts with having a surplus, just having more stuff than you need right at this moment. Then you can lend that extra out to people who do need it now. As time goes by, you earn money on that loan, which makes your surplus even bigger. You can see where this is going. Over generations, that effect just snowballs, and wealth starts to concentrate with the people who had that advantage to begin with. And that's where things get really interesting. Money wasn't just a simple tool for buying and selling anymore. It got a brand new superpower, the ability to shape society, to create hierarchies based on a very simple question. Could you afford to wait, or did you need money right now? All right, so this idea is powerful in theory, but where did it get put to the test? Well, this whole system really found its footing in Europe, where these financial tools were put into practice on a scale nobody had ever seen before. Yeah, this system was way too big for just small towns and villages. It needed a much, much bigger stage to play on. And it found that stage in the expanding world of global trade and, you guessed it, warfare. So let's look at how this actually happened on the ground. First, you had these powerful banking families in Italy who started funding huge, risky trade voyages across the world. Suddenly, risk, time, and interest were all tangled up on a global scale. And then, governments started paying attention. They realized they could pay for massive wars not with the money they had, but by borrowing against the taxes of people who hadn't even been born yet. So when you boil it all down, who were the two main customers that really scaled this whole system up? It was merchants looking for profit and governments looking for power. Commerce and conflict. Those were the twin engines that really proved just how powerful debt could be. Okay, this brings us to the final part of the story. And honestly, it might be the most mind-bending part of all. Because the widespread use of debt didn't just change the present, it fundamentally rewired our relationship with the future. And this is a huge deal. Think back to our farmer. His debt was temporary. He'd pay it back after the harvest. But the debts that nations took on for wars or big projects, they were different. They were never really meant to be paid off quickly. Debt became a permanent, structural piece of the entire economy. And what does all that mean? What's the final result? It's this. Money figured out how to time travel. Through the machine of interest and permanent debt, you could literally reach into the future and pull value, future profits, future taxes, future labor, into the present and spend it today. So here we are. We live inside this system every single day, where our present is constantly being paid for by borrowing from the years ahead. And that leaves us with one really important question to think about. If money is reaching into the future, whose future is it buying?
History does not give instructions, it gives perspective. Money itself remains neutral. Time and interest decide whether it works for you or against you.